Jules Brunet. Jules Brunet, 2 January 1838, 12 August 1911, originally sent to Japan as an artillery instructor with the French military mission of 1867. He refused to leave the country after the shogun was defeated, and played a leading role in the separatist Republic of Ezo and its fight against forces of the Meiji Restoration. After the rebellion's defeat, he returned to France, fought in the Franco-Prussian War, and later reached the rank of General of Division and worked for the Ministry of War. Early life and career. Brunet was born in Belfort, in the region of Alsace in eastern France. He was the son of Jean Mitchell Brunet, a veterinary doctor in the army. In 1855 he began his military education after being admitted to St. Cyr, which he left 2 years to enter the École Polytechnique. Graduating 68th of 120 in his class, Brunet joined the artillery and finished his education at the School of Artillery of Metz, where he excelled in his studies and graduated in 4th place in his course in 1861. Shortly after graduating, Brunet was sent to serve in the French invasion of Mexico. As a sub-lieutenant in the Mounted Artillery Regiment of the Imperial Guard, he served with distinction throughout the war, particularly during the siege of Puebla in 1863, for which he was awarded by Emperor Napoleon Roman III with the Cross of the Légion d'Honneur. He was promoted to captain of the artillery in 1867, and was then Knight of the Légion d'Honneur. During his time in Mexico, Brunet was able to create a number of quickly drawn croquis, many of which were then published by French newspapers to illustrate the war. Mission to Japan. In 1866, the French government decided to send a group of military advisors to Japan to help modernize the shogun's army. For his distinguished performance in the artillery school and in the war in Mexico, Brunet was a main choice for the artillery corps of the mission. He was notably recommended to Napoleon Roman III by government official Emilien de Nieuwerkerk, who also noted Brunet's drawing skills and his most great desire to be in charge of a military mission to Japan. At 28 years old, Brunet was one of the youngest officers selected to the mission. The mission was composed of 15 members, including 5 officers, and was led by Captain Charles Chanoine. All preparations were completed on 3 November 1866, and days later the mission departed to Japan aboard the Pelus. They arrived in January 1867 and trained the shogun's troops for about a year. While in Japan, Brunet was promoted to captain August 1867. Then the shogun in 1868 was overthrown in the Boshin War and Emperor Meiji was nominally restored to full power. In late September 1868, the French military mission was ordered by its government to leave Japan. Captain Chanoine arranged for the mission to leave Japan aboard 2 ships, which would sail on 15 and 28 October. Brunet, however, chose to stay in Japan and remain loyal to Shogun's side of the war. He decided to assist the Aotsu Roppan-Domai, known as the Northern Alliance, in their resistance against the imperial faction. He resigned from the French army on 4 October, informing Minister of War Adolphe Neil of his decision in a letter. I have the honor of presenting to you my resignation from the rank of captain. I declare that from this 4 October 1868, I renounce the prerogatives of the position of artillery officer in the French army. In another letter to Napoleon Roman III himself, Brunet explained the plan of the alliance, as well as his role in it. A revolution is forcing the military mission to return to France. Alliance, alone I stay, alone I wish to continue under new conditions. The results obtained by the mission, together with the party of the North, which is the party favorable to France and Japan. Soon a reaction will take place, and the daimyos of the North have offered me to be its soul. I have accepted. On 4 October, the day of his resignation, Brunet left the French headquarters in Yokohama under the pretext of going to visit the Franco-Japanese arsenal in Yokosuka. Instead, he went to the shogunate's fleet anchored off Shinagawa, in Tokyo Bay, where he joined André Cazeneuve, a fellow countryman who remained loyal to the shogun. Boshin War. Brunet took an active role in the Boshin War. He and Cazeneuve were present at the Battle of Toba Fushimi near Osaka in January 1868 before the mission was recalled to France. After that imperial victory, Brunet, Cazeneuve, and the shogun's admiral, Inamoto Taikeki, fled to Edo, now Tokyo, on the warship Fujisan. When Edo also fell to imperial forces, Inamoto and Brunet escaped, first going to Sendai and then to the northern island of Hokkaido, then known as Ezo. There, they quickly captured the port city of Hakodate on 26 October 1868, and by the end of the year Inamoto and his allies had proclaimed the independent Republic of Ezo. Brunet became the de facto Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Ezo government. He invited foreign diplomats and handled opening negotiations with foreign powers, as the Ezo state sought international recognition, and was responsible for drafting French-language announcements to his fellow officers fighting in the rebellion. Brunet also helped to organize the Ezo army under hybrid Franco-Japanese leadership. Otori Keisuke was commander-in-chief and Brunet was second in command. Each of the four brigades were commanded by a French officer, Fortant, Marlin, Cazeneuve, and Bouffier, with Japanese officers commanding each half-brigade. The final stand of the Shogun/Ezo forces was the Battle of Hakodate. The Ezo forces, numbering 3,000, were defeated by 7,000 imperial troops in June 1869. In an interesting postscript to his involvement in the Boshin War, Brunet spoke highly of Shinsengumi Vice Commander Hijikata Tishizo in his memoirs. Praising Hijikata's ability as a leader, he said that if the man had been in Europe, he most certainly would have been a general. Return to France and later career. Brunet and the other French advisers were wanted by the imperial government, but were evacuated from Hokkaido by the French corvette Coetlagen, commanded by Abel Nicolas Burgas du Petit Thouars. In Yokohama, they were put under arrest by the new French plenipotentiary in Japan, Maxime Doutre, and then taken to Saigon by the Dupleix. Brunet then returned to France. The new Japanese government requested that Brunet be punished for his activities in the Boshin War, but his actions had won popular support in France, and the request was denied. After receiving a light sentence in his country of suspension for 6 months, Brunet rejoined the French army in February 1870, with only a slight loss in seniority. During the Franco-Prussian War of 1870-1871, he distinguished himself at the battles of Spitzeren, Mars-la-Tour, and Gravelotte. He was taken prisoner at the siege of Metz. In the aftermath of the war, Brunet played a key role as a member of the Versailles army in the suppression of the Paris Commune. He visited the Royal School of Military Engineering in the United Kingdom in August 1871, and later that year was made an officer of the Légion d'Honneur and assigned as aide-de-camp to the Minister of War, Ernest Cortot de Cissy. In 1879, Brunet received the promotion to chef d'escadron and was appointed military attaché to Rome. As a colonel, he commanded the 11th Artillery Regiment between 1887 and 1891. Promoted to brigade general in December 1891, he commanded the 48th Infantry Brigade between 1891 and 1897, then the 19th Artillery Brigade. In 1898, Chanoine, his former senior officer in the Japan mission, by then Minister of War, made Brunet his chef de cabinet and promoted him to general of division. In January 1903, Brunet retired into the Army Reserve. After a long period of illness, he died in Fontenay-sous-Bois on 13 August 1911. Rehabilitation in Japan. Brunet's former ally, Admiral Inamoto, joined the imperial government and became minister of the Imperial Japanese Navy. Through Inamoto's influence, the imperial government not only forgave Brunet's actions but awarded him medals in May 1881 and again in March 1885, among those the Order of the Rising Sun. The medals were presented at the Japanese embassy in Paris. In 1895, Brunet was made a Grand Officer of the Order of the Sacred Treasure. Cultural references. Brunet's actions inspired the character of Captain Nathan Algren, the protagonist in the 2003 movie The Last Samurai. Drawing and paintings by Brunet. Brunet was a talented painter and sketch artist who left numerous depictions of his travels in Mexico and Japan.